With that, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Fire department regulations, orders for proper exits.
Sure, through the chair. If there's an emergency, we have 2 exits located right over here. If those are blocked, we can go right through here and follow the exit signs.
Thank you. D, FY26 budget.
Through the chair, I'll present our FY26 proposed Bay Path budget. So the next slide, our funding sources, Chapter 70 and 71 estimates are based on the governor's budget submitted January 2025. Estimated Chapter 70 funding for FY 2026 is $14,565,806. Our estimated Chapter 71 funding for FY 26 is $375,375 sorry, that's gonna be tough. These are preliminary estimates subject to change based on how the budget makes it through the House and the Senate. The next slide, impact on Bay Path. Here you see our Chapter 70, our minimum contribution for both FY26 and FY25, as well as our required net school spending. So there's an increase of $112,000 roughly on our Chapter 70, an increase of $388,000 on our minimum contribution. Overall, required net school spending has gone up just over $500,000 on that. Financial information, FY26 total budget for assessments is $30,298,721. Our member town assessments are at the minimum. Our budget includes a debt service assessment of $1,552,003. Our operational budget does not require municipal funds above the minimum contributions by our member communities. Our member assessment total is $13,665,798. Although the assessments are at the minimum, it's important to note that the required minimum contributions that each town must contribute have increased collectively by just over $388,000. Our member town's transportation assessment has increased by $345,176 due to a decrease in the regional transportation reimbursement funds. The district has allocated $260,531 in E&D funds to partially offset an even higher increase. Some of our financial highlights. Total Chapter 70 revenue is $14,565,806. Our school choice assessment is $293,789. Our Chapter 71 busing aid is $1,375,375. The use of $75,000 from excess and deficiency to continue funding OPEB liability, and in FY24 the district missed its net school spending requirements by $660,595. The FY26 budget contains a portion of $500,000 from E&D to reduce that shortfall. And the next slide, if you can read it, this is our statement of assessments in the 26 proposed operating budget. So at the top you can see operational total budget is $26,610,812. That's composed of our Chapter 70, just over $14.5 million. Our school choice assessment, that's negative because we pay that out. That's $293,789. The assessment of the minimum contribution is $11.6 million. We have no assessment over the minimum required local contribution. Our interest in earnings is $150,000, and we're offsetting our OPEB by $75,000 from E&D, and our E&D net school spending gap we're offsetting with $500,000 as well. The transportation budget, the total is $2,135,906. Chapter 71 is $1,375,375, and our E&D assessment reduces that by $260,531 for a total assessment of $500,000 to our towns. Debt service, you can see again that our principal is higher than our interest, and that comes out to $1,552,003. No capital, no sewer betterment fee, and our FY26 budget for assessment is $30,298,721. The school choice gets added back in, so the total operating budget with school choice is $30,592,510. And again, you can see our operating budget of FY26 of just shy of $30.3 million on that. So some of our budget highlights. We're adding a new diesel vocational program with 2 instructors. We have 1 instructor on this year, and next year we'll increase that to 2. We're adding 10 part-time student summer positions. These are student positions that will help with buildings and grounds maintenance over the summer. And we'll add a vocational instructional coach, as well as add health and dental vocational aid, and contractual wage increases have been built in for all our employees. And our health insurance did see an 18% increase this year. That is industry standard. Some school districts are seeing 20 to 21. Over the last several years, we haven't seen an increase in our healthcare. And 1 year we even got a rebate on that. So in talking with the Hampshire board, we're seeing this across. They've since realized that in those good years, rather than not have an increase, they'll do a marginal increase on that, so that we're not facing such a drastic increase this year. But many of the schools are seeing double-digit in the 20s on that, so 18% this year. We'll continue to use our SOA funds to provide significant professional development to all our staff, especially the programs focused on social and emotional issues with our students. The use of the SOA funds to provide programs and speakers to students to address issues such as bullying, bias, mental health, and more. Other budget highlights are supply and material accounts have been funded to account for continued inflation, and some of the larger shop equipment purchases will be a steaming oven for our culinary arts, landscape utility vehicle for building property maintenance, updated student workstations for our HVAC students, and a frame machine for our automotive collision department as well. Part of our budget calculations is the freshman seat allocation. So we're allocating 330 seats for our freshmen this year. That's an increase of 5 additional students over 325 last year. You can see the breakdown. This is calculated by the school-age children population in each one of our 10 towns for a total of 17,695. And then we figure out the percentage makeup and allocate the seats accordingly. So we'll see that Auburn has the largest number of seats available this year at 48, and you can see going down the list there. The next slide is our foundation enrollment for Bay Path. So this is the total number of students enrolled by each town, so all grades in this, and you can see the difference from FY25 as well as FY26 on it. So overall, there'll be a slight decrease in total foundational enrollment on those.
Alex, just put that back on this one.
Okay, Dave?
Just refresh my memory, if you would please. When the town, I'm looking at Oxford, for example, gone down by 7, and why does it go down if there's, why does it go down, I guess?
So it could go down because there was a large group in one of the years. So the graduating seniors was a large group, larger than the incoming classes. That could be one. Students leave throughout the 4 years as well. So, you know, without drilling down individually in each town, I don't have a specific answer.
No,
Those are some of the reasons.
Yes, okay.
You know, so if a town doesn't fill their seat allocation, those seats are divided up
Okay,
equitably among the other 9 towns.
so the allocations don't change.
The allocations don't change, so Auburn and Rutland historically didn't fill their
Got it.
their allocation.
Okay.
So those 5 seats or 4 seats will be then equitably distributed among the other 8 towns. So that could lead to an increase, but a year where Auburn fills, the other towns don't get any increases. So that could contribute to a high enrollment one year
Right.
and then lower the next year because
Got it.
we didn't
All
have the
right, good,
seats.
thank you.
Yeah. So our statement of assessments for our towns, here you can see each one of the towns highlighted on this. The minimum contribution, which is set by the state for a total of $11.6 million. Assessment above, again, is 0. Foundation enrollment is put on there. The foundation enrollment is used in the calculation of transportation assessment. So you can see that Auburn has 10.6. That 10.6 is multiplied by the total transportation assessment of 500,000, so that equates to 52,994, and that calculation is held through all the other 9 towns on the capital population. Again, ratio is used for debt service and capital improvement. We have 0 capital improvement, so you can see that Auburn has 2,580 out of 17,695, so that's 14.58%. That's multiplied by the $1,552,003, equates to 226,288. That calculation again is carried through for the other 9 towns, and then we add up the minimum contribution, the transportation assessment, and the debt service for each one of the towns. And you can see the assessments for each one of the towns there. So Auburn, as the example town, is $1.8 million for a total assessment to our 10-member towns of $13,665,798. And now for each one of you, we break it out by town so you can see a comparison of FY26 to FY25 for all the assessments. Minimum contribution, transportation, debt service. So Auburn, you can see an overall increase of $74,167, or an increase of 4.28%. Question? Charlton. Same. Overall increase is $71,653, or a 2.9% increase. Dudley. It's going down $46,017, or a decrease of 3.92%. Big contributing factor there was the minimum local contribution. North Brookfield is going up $64,410, or a 12.52% increase. Oxford, increase of $65,175, or a 3.88% increase. Transportation was the biggest factor there. Again, we typically, years past, had more in our transportation reimbursement account to offset that. This year, rather than 500,000 or a larger amount, it's down to 500,000. Paxton, 57,965% increase, 9.74% increase. Rutland, $172,793 increase, or a 21.85% increase. The largest is their minimum contribution, and they're $147,814.
It's okay, Joe will handle it.
Southbridge, increase of $107,959. Again, transportation and minimum contribution, largest contributors there, or 8.92% increase. Spencer, increase of $125,276. or 9.91% increase. Webster, $39,793 increase, or 2.66%. Our grand totals, overall increase $733,172, or a 5.67% increase. And again, you can see the transportation is the largest contributing factor there. And that's what we have. Thank you for your continued support, and any questions?
Any questions? None here. Al?
On the total up there, it said 7 less this year than last year. And yet we have a waiting list of students.
So overall, and I'm getting to your slide, so you're looking at the foundation enrollment for Oxford or Charlton and those. Is that the, Dean, can you get to slide 12? I think that's the slide. Right there? Those numbers, Al?
Will we fill that -7 from the waiting list?
No, so that's just the total number of freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors from last year to this year. That's the difference. So Oxford
Oh,
had
okay.
7 less students.
All right.
This year they had 149 students. Next year, with the graduating class, a large number of students go out. This freshman seat allocation of Oxford, 35, will bring their total to 142 students. So it's 7 less than last year. We do, overall, we have a wait list of 400 students on our freshman application, so.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just because it's always a pet peeve of mine, what was the transportation reimbursement amount, the rate? You know, because it was always a promise to towns to 100% reimburse transportation and whatnot. What did it actually end up being for FY '26?
We can calculate it if we don't have it.
I was trying to find the total, but I wasn't coming across it.
That was the first, well, that was,
That one.
if we put it, yeah, right there. So the total amount was $2,135,906, and we were reimbursed from the state 1.375. So.
It's about 50%.
Promises made, promises kept.
Yep.
Kyle, just as a heads up, that's the projection for next year.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay? But remember that your reimbursement is a year in arrears.
Yeah.
So that $1,375,000 is based on what we report as expended by June 30th of '24. So the reimbursement rate, when you look at 1.3 versus what we spent last year, is gonna end up being about 86%.
Okay.
Okay, now, what happens is, in some cases, the contract goes up faster than the previous increase in chapter 7.1. So it's always a little bit behind.
Right.
If the governor gets her way, they've changed the budget for next year, she's only got probably 60% in the budget. And then she's got this magic number that they can reallocate and do this and do that depending on what happens. So it's gonna be much harder to figure out exactly what it is until the end.
Any other questions? Anyone from the public? Is the public hearing? None? All right. With that, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So we'll move.
Motion in many seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so we're out of the public hearing. And with that, regular meeting minutes, February 3rd, 2025. Move to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Bob.
Correction, I was not here at the last meeting.
That would be a correction. Okay. Any other corrections or questions? Being none, I'll call for the vote to approve as amended. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of warrants, they are going around and there is a bunch of them to sign. So please make sure you sign those, and with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion in a second, any, no real discussion on that, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. E, review of budget, year-to-date expenditure report through February 2025. Is
Through the chair, you all have a copy of the expenditure report showing expenses and encumbrances through February 24, 2025, and Ms. Schofield is here to answer any questions, as well as should be proposing a series of transfers to balance the accounts for the March meeting. This is much.
Yep. Any other questions, comments, discussion? Okay, thank you. We'll move past that. Correspondence. I know Anne Marie's not here. Lee, is there any correspondence? Okay. Student Advisory Committee. I see Matt may be late, aiming for 7 o'clock.
Yeah, he does have a small report.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just take that out of order when he shows up. Old business, there is none tonight. Citizen participation, nothing. Okay. New business, recognitions, athletics.
Through the chair, we have several. February is an exciting month for Bay Path athletics. Both boys and girls varsity basketball teams earned spots in the large school state vocational tournament. Both teams had outstanding performances in the tournament. The boys fought hard but fell short against a tough Shawsheen, 37-35. The girls won back-to-back titles with their 55-53 victory over Greater New Bedford. So we want to send congratulations out to both coaches, but in particular for the girls, Coach Shulman, and both the boys and girls teams on that. In the basketball, we had individual basketball highlights to include not one but two students hitting 1,000 career points at Bay Path. On February 12th, senior Allie Welton surpassed 1,000 points, and then on February 18th, Allie became the all-time leading girls scorer, surpassing 1,016 point Nicole Primavera from 2007 to 2011. On February 25th, senior Peter Barbell scored his 1,000th point on the road against Milton High School during an MIA Division II playoff game. I do want to shout out to Milton. They agreed to suspend the game and do a recognition of that career highlight for him, so they were very gracious in doing that. Peter didn't attend Bay Path as a freshman, so this accomplishment was completed in just 3 years, which is pretty remarkable. So congratulations to both Allie and Peter on that. Continuing with our sports, congratulations to our cheerleaders who finished third at the Heart of the Hill Invitational. The cheerleaders also placed second in Division II at the Regional Central Mass Championships. They will be moving on to the States this Sunday, March 9th. This is the first time in Bay Path history that a cheerleading team has made it to the States in both fall and winter seasons on the same school year. The States will be held at Worcester State University this year. Our co-op wrestlers participated in the state tournament over the weekend. Congrats to both Jacob Ferguson and Liam Coleman on that accomplishment. And we were just made aware that Bay Path was named Best Technical Trade School in the 2024 Best of Central Mass Community Choice Awards in the Telegram. So that's certainly an accomplishment to be proud of. And this one came in on the wire just before the meeting. Our athletic director, Rick Carrero, sent this out. I'd like to congratulate the bowling team of Hope Belford, Nico Yakovas, Dylan, should practice this one, Kuhada Chantara. Hujatara? All right, thank you. Trevor Amaral, Matthew Twombly, our own Matthew Twombly, Alex Kurzak, and Sarah Kompetsky for finishing fourth in the Central Mass Bowling Championship held this past weekend at Bolero, Auburn Lanes. In the individual girls A division, Sarah finished third and secured a high game for the regular season. In Division B for the girls, Hope Belford finished 10th and Sharice Berthian finished second. Alex Kurzak finished second in the boys Division B. So that was a pretty fantastic showing by our students. Congratulations to everybody that competed in that as well.
Thank you for that. So, I mean, the recognitions, I'm glad we've added that to the beginning of the agenda so we touch base on some of these great accomplishments. And 1,000 points in less than 40, I mean, that is unbelievable. Moving on to presentations, adoption of the FY26 school budget. And again, the majority of us, no one's entered the room except Matt. I'm sure he's not interested in seeing that presentation. So we're going to skip the presentation and move into adopting the FY26 budget. So
So moved.
No, Tim?
I gotta make a motion.
Okay.
Superintendent, director, the school business manager, budget subcommittee recommend the school committee vote to approve the FY '26 budget in the amount of $30,592,510, including school choice, with an operating budget for assessments of $30,298,721 as submitted, pending the final action of the legislature, with the school committee reconvening at a later date if needed to amend the FY '26 budget and assessments to reflect the final action of the legislature.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? No. All right, this does require a 2/3 vote. We're gonna just simply try it, make sure if it's unanimous and we'll be good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Declare a 2/3 vote, passing that. Presentations B2, FY '24 audit report, Scanlon Associates.
So through the school chair, with the recommendation of the audit subcommittee, the superintendent, director, and the school business manager, we recommend the school committee vote to accept the FY '24 annual audit from Scanlon Associates as presented. That audit was presented earlier in the subcommittee meeting this evening. There were no findings on that audit, so a significant change from years past. We're in great financial standing, and we do have our former interim business manager if there are any questions on the audit.
I'll entertain a motion. So moved. Second. I have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments for John, Schofield, or Kyle?
Just a comment, I'd like to thank everyone, John, and everyone who was involved in the improvement year over year in that whole audit process and the outcome of it. No management letter because there were no findings, so great strides made there. So again, I just want to pass my thanks along.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Being none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor accepting the audit?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Freshman placement process.
Through the chair, we have Director of Career Vocational Technical Ed here tonight, and he's going to do a quick presentation on the new freshman placement process. Mr. Tripp?
So through the chair, I promise this will be quick. In your packets, there's a very deep, I'd say rather detailed, description of the freshman placement process this year and how it compares to years past. So I'll keep my presentation quick with some high-level highlights. So this past year, 2023-2024 school year, we had approximately 12 volunteer CTE educators from all around the building that met voluntarily to go through the exploratory process here at BayPath, not only the grading process, but also the scheduling process and what that looks like. What we did is we gathered feedback from current CTE staff, vocational staff here, with the goal of determining if the existing system is the best serves BayPath students. Our goal was to enhance top choice placements, so first, second, third choice selections. Guiding questions, so is the existing system equitable? Do all programs assess students similarly? Does the system place as many students into first choice placement as possible? What are the best practices from across the state? So what are other CTE schools doing? We reached out to them. And how can we improve the process at BayPath? Not necessarily stealing their system. We realize that BayPath is its own unique school, but share best practices. So pre-placement guidelines, 2024-2025, so before this year, the old rubric is before you, it's hard to read. There is a copy of this in your packet. Previously, there was a big emphasis on scheduling points, so shop teachers could place students, assign student scheduling points. The more scheduling points they have, the more likely they were to be placed into their first choice shop. The new rubric that we created takes away scheduling points, essentially breaks it down into workmanship or work-personship, safety, competency, employability, and attendance. The final CTE program placement was based on 60% of their average shop grades from across all 9 exploratories, 30% of the related theory grades, and then 10% discipline. That 10% discipline is only heavy discipline, so typically the 10 days up. The students with the highest average will be admitted into the first choice program selection, hopefully, unless there's a long wait list. In the event of a tie, we would use the student's highest grade in the first choice program, second tie, highest related grade in the first choice, and then we go to academic average, which we did not have to do. Looking at the old rubric here, so pretty simple and straightforward. Again, the committee didn't meet to necessarily get rid of this old rubric. We didn't feel that it didn't work. We just wanted to see what was out there. And what you'll see on the next page, with our new rubric, it's broken down in greater detail. What we did was created this template for a daily grade, and we shared it out with each CTE program to adopt with their own content area language, if they just so desire to. Some shops use the general language that we have here, but what this did when they shared it with the students and families, parents, guardians, students knew what the expectations were for that specific program. They couldn't change the grading necessarily, but the content area language that was embedded in that for each program seemed to help. We do have some fine tuning to do. We had a handful of programs rating students very high 90s, we'll just say that. So we do have some fine tuning to do there. The committee is continuing to meet this year. We're actually meeting on Wednesday again to go through this in greater detail and see how we can emphasize that perhaps students, it'd be difficult to achieve 100 in exploratory. I think that's the best way to put that. So what does 100 look like versus 80 in the 80? Any questions?
Any questions for Sure. Dave?
A lot of effort went into this, a lot of thought. It's great, and it's nice to see looking at this from a different angle. I don't have an answer to an observation, so I'm just going to throw it out there just for thought. Looking at if there's a tie, okay, between, I'm thinking of a kid or a student who wants to be a welder. Could be the best welder in the world. Does A work in the shop, blah, blah, blah. Academically, loses the tie. That's hard. That's hard. I don't know the answer. I don't know. I know what I would like to do. I think that if the guidance counselors know the students, and I know they don't know them because they're freshmen coming in, I would hope that we would look at that and say, this kid should be in welding, or this kid should be in carpentry because that's who they are. They're not academically inclined. It's a life-changing experience, and I know it's a lot of weight on you and everybody else. So I don't have an answer to it, but having been with kids for so long and haven't seen those kids that should be in that shop, that will lose out because of academics, but have the trade and are good technically, that's a hard nut to swallow.
So, through the chair, I think the best attempt was made because academic is only the third tiebreaker. The first tiebreaker is the grade in that actual shop. So if it's a tie between two kids and the gentleman who will be a great welder, but academics out there, the first tiebreaker is looking at that individual's grade in the shop. The next one is related, which is more academically inclined as the tiebreaker. And the third tiebreaker is the academic average on it. So the weight is there. And I think also the highest percentage of points is workmanship, which is shop grade.
Mm-hmm.
So the shop grade, the actual hands-on, is the highest. There's not a perfect, but hopefully the emphasis in correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Tripp, the emphasis is on shop performance first over related and then academic grades. Academic grades only comes into effect for any placement on a third tiebreaker.
Like I said, I don't have the answer to it, but
Oh,
I can see it happening. You know,
Unfortunately, there's no perfect system.
there is,
You know?
there is, but I'm just, you know, as a shop teacher, when I see this kid goes through, and I know this kid, okay, hey, listen, not a bad day, been a couple days, but I know he's got the capabilities of doing it, and he lost out to my shop. Is there a way of reaching out to make it happen? That's my only. I don't
Yeah.
just throw it out there. That's all.
Any other comments or questions, or Don?
Real quick, Mr. Tripp did a great job with all that data. It's a lot of stuff up there to analyze in. And I guess you accomplished your goal of increasing the first, second, third choices this year because I think it was by 1% that
So 1%
you did
difference.
that. So you achieved the goal. Very good. Thank you.
Excellent. Any other comments?
I would just echo those sentiments. Great job getting that done. A ton of data there, and I think we're moving in the right direction. I don't know how much better we can get it actually. I really don't. And, you know, you start splitting hairs, and sometimes things can turn the other way. So I think it's going to work out pretty good. I love the new rubric compared to the old one. Even the fact that it's not in the old penmanship. That looks like it might have been here at the inception.
We can change it back, right? If you like.
Let's leave it as it is. And I like the fact that individual shops can change out the content in there as well. So that works out great. So now you just have to get them stuck in the hundreds and you'll be all set.
And
Yeah.
if I may, and I'm splitting hairs. I agree with George. Great job. So kudos to you and the team.
What I want to say, and it didn't make it in the actual presentation, but there is a link in what we were presented in the packets. I invite you all to click on that because he has it broken down so far into the weeds. I mean, it's actually very good as to figure out which shops got which placements, which kids, when they got here and applied, were their 1 through 9 choices, and at the end, how they ranked them after their 9 trips through exploratory. I mean, it's all in there. I mean, some of the numbers that I was reading through, I mean, it's amazing you had the time and didn't go cross-eyed filling out that spreadsheet. So again, everyone said it, but excellent job. So, yep.
Through the chair, just one more comment. I think it's important that we get the message out to the families, and I say it again year after year to the students, and I don't think they fully get the importance of doing well in all of the shops. I don't know how much more you can put it out there, but if we could brainstorm ways to get that through to the families, because I don't think the kids totally get it. And they come here and they work hard in their favorite shops, and then if they get put into a non-traditional or even something else that they're not completely satisfied with, they're not putting forth that effort. And the importance of it, as Mr. Grenier said, it can be life-altering, at least temporarily. So it makes people pretty upset, families, students alike. So if we can just find a way to get that message out there, even as 7th and 8th graders, when you do come here, you have to do well.
So true. Any other questions or comments? Okay, with that, we will move on to C, awarding of the 2025-2026 house project updates for current project.
So, to the Chair, the Superintendent Director, the Vocational Director, and the House Selection Committee recommend the school committee vote to award the 25-26 house project to Albert and Patricia Ziemba for a 1,120 square foot, 1-floor ranch to be built at 0 Fort Sumter Road in Southbridge, Mass. And you all have a copy of the blueprints for that house. So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I feel very comfortable that we're going back to some basic structures.
That's for sure, yeah.
Some of the previous years were pretty elaborate, and I think the focus here, and I'm glad Southbridge is awarded as a project down.
Excellent. Any other comments or questions?
I see the first house of the year, but what about the other 1,200 square foot house that they're gonna do when they're done with that one?
Ben's got a pool house.
Yeah, oh God.
About the same size.
Is that like full?
I mean, it's a third of the size of some of the ones that they've done. So
Yeah.
I think it's actually a good opportunity. I think it gives you more time to slow down and do a little bit more one-on-one instruction and go over some of the basics, meeting the competencies, rather than, I can't say the term I was gonna throw out there that we use in construction, but instead of going all out, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, sure.
Yeah, all out.
Any other,
One
Don?
last question. So was it just this one applicant that had submitted all the things necessary?
2 applicants submitted everything. The other house was Charlton.
Okay.
Southbridge was next up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Being none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Before we jump over, is there an update on the current project?
Through the chair, I believe this was in your packets as well. So electrical, just going through quickly here. Bedroom, living room, and master bedroom, rough wiring is complete. As of the writing of this, so this was last week, bathroom and kitchen, rough wiring expected to be complete, possibly sometime this week. Carpentry, framing and roofing fully complete. Carpentry team is now working on the siding installation. Plumbing, underground plumbing has been signed off. Basement floor is ready to be poured from a plumbing standpoint. Over February vacation, the bathtubs and shower stalls were delivered and they were being installed as of last week. Water piping work will resume first week of March, so starting this week, the involvement of the junior class. The goal is to achieve complete rough plumbing sign-off by March 10th, with a slight variance of a day or two. And in terms of cabinet making, the homeowner came in and met with Mr. Martinson, and they're starting to discuss specifications and ordering materials to begin fabrication.
Excellent. Any questions for the update? Okay. D, surplus equipment. 1, science department.
Through the chair, superintendent, director, principal, and school business manager recommend the school committee vote to place 471 science textbooks of little to no value and 420 science textbooks in good to like new condition on the surplus equipment list to be disposed of according to the school committee surplus equipment policy.
So moved.
Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion? Being none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 2, business office.
Through the chair, superintendent, director, and school business manager recommend the school committee vote to place 120 chairs/stools and 19 2x4 desks on surplus equipment list to be disposed of according to the school committee surplus equipment policy.
So, motion and a second. Any discussion? Being none, call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 3, maintenance.
Through the chair, the superintendent, director, the school business manager recommend the school committee vote to cancel the registration and place 1 Lincoln Navigator of scrap value on the surplus equipment list to be disposed of according to the school committee surplus equipment policy.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Being none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 4, cosmetology.
Through the chair, the superintendent, director, and vocational director, and the school business manager recommend the school committee vote to place 2 towel warmers in working condition. This would be good for the house.
Let's get jokes tonight.
Valued at $20 each, 8 styling chairs in working condition valued at $40 each, and 32 styling chairs of no value on the surplus equipment list to be disposed of according to the surplus equipment policy.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? I was gonna let Kyle take credit for these nice binders, but this is
Not
made by
anymore.
Kyle. Nice job, Kyle. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. E, approval of out-of-state field trips. We have a bunch of them. Veterinary animal science.
So through the school chair, veterinary animal science, Mystic Aquarium, Mystic, Connecticut. Superintendent, director, vocational director, and principal recommend the school committee vote to approve the veterinary science out-of-state field trip.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, any discussion? Being none, I'll call for the vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 2, plumbing.
Through the school chair, the superintendent, director, the vocational director, and principal recommend the school committee vote to approve the plumbing out-of-state field trip to Viega, New Hampshire Seminar Center in Nashua, New Hampshire on April 4th, 2025.
So moved. Second. Have a motion and a second, any discussion? Being none, I'll call for the vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 3, veterinary animal science.
The school chair, superintendent, director, vocational director, and principal recommend the school committee vote to approve the veterinary animal science out-of-state field trip to Oak Ridge Dairy Farm in Ellington, Connecticut on April 29th, 2025.
So moved. Second. Motion and a second, any discussion? Being none, I'll call for the vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 4, cabinet making.
Through the school chair, the superintendent, director, vocational director, and principal recommend the school committee vote to approve the cabinet making out-of-state field trip to the Rhode Island Convention Center in Providence, Rhode Island on March 28th, 2025.
So moved.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second, any discussion? Being none, I'll call for the vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. While we're on the out-of-state field trips, I wanna entertain a motion to walk on another out-of-state field trip for veterinary and animal science.
So moved.
Have a motion,
Second.
have a motion and a second to walk it on. Any discussion, comments on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so with that, E5, approval of out-of-state field trip, veterinary and animal science.
Through the school chair, the superintendent, director, the vocational director, and the principal recommend the school committee vote to approve the veterinary animal science out-of-state field trip to Peckham Farm at URI, West Kingston, Rhode Island on April 16th, 2025.
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second, any discussion? Being none, I'll call for the vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, F, awarding of water jet machine 200 bid.
Through the school chair, the superintendent, director, the school business manager recommend the school committee vote to award the purchase and delivery of a new water jet Mach 200 machine to Machine Tools USA Inc. in the amount of $232,255. Cindy Schofield is here tonight to answer any questions on that bid.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, any questions or discussion? Tim?
I just have we received a single bid, that's my understanding.
That's correct.
Do we typically act on one bid, or is it wise to extend the bidding process?
So we actually had, there was 5 or 6 vendors that were interested, but because of the specifications of this, really this government machine Tools USA is really the only one that we really wanted to have the bid come through, so they're the most qualified to do with the machine that we want.
So we obviously feel it's a good, fair bid.
All right, Al, you have a question?
Well, I just thought it was a very expensive price, and being it was only one bid. And I'm curious why Flow, the most prominent one of Flowjet and WaterJet, didn't have a price in here. Were they even contacted?
I think that, yeah, so this company, Machine Tools USA, I think, when I spoke to Kate, the department head, he was the one that was really looking at this company, the best thing, so they've merged companies, I believe, so that's why it came to Machine Tools USA.
Okay. Don, did you have a question?
Was that a budgeted item from last year, this year's budget, or is it through a grant or anything?
No, that was budgeted, right?
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Being none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. G, acceptance of donation.
Sure. Through the school chair, superintendent, director, principal, vocational director, and business manager are excited to recommend to the school committee vote to accept the donation of $155,000 from the Ellis Cappy Bateman Charitable Trust to purchase a compact crawler boom lift for the school students.
So moved. Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Done.
So it says it's gonna be used by the electrical and construction departments. Staff, students, or a combination of both, and do they, the hoisting license, is that still an issue that the teachers have to get?
So, excellent, and through the school chair, yes, so the stars came in alignment. Hoisting licenses are, and hoisting is something that the state legislators incorporated into one of the bills. So vocational schools are allowed to offer the hoisting license under a certified instructor. So part of this purchase will involve the company that we're buying it from training and certifying so many instructors, and then coming in and certifying our students. So it'll be used by both staff and students. The students have to be in the lift with a certified instructor on it. So that's why we say it will start in electrical, and then it will be available to any of the construction trades that want to get certified, so that they can offer this certification to their students and give them yet one more credential they can walk out with.
So that regulation too would, you know, we used to because of driving forklift, for instance, our instructors had to get licensed. So will the students be able to get, will that license cover them too on the forklift, or is it just machine?
No, so that'll be for the boom lift.
For the boom lift, okay. And what about in, like in maintenance, like, building property maintenance, all those, lifts,
So yeah, if they, whatever lifts they're using, so hoisting is something that we can offer vocational students again
You
now
can,
under the
that's
new
great.
legislation.
Okay.
Like backhoes.
Yeah, so it used to be just Aggie schools, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and they were taken off as well. So the MAVA lobbied hard for Aggies and vocational schools to get this in, and it was voted and approved in legislation going forward now. So yeah, we're very fortunate that, you know, going through.
Yeah, it's good, really good. It's good for the kids.
Any other comments? Joe?
Yeah, well, just a question. I mean, it's an extremely generous gift. What's the history of the charitable fund we?
They, Mr. Tripp, keep me in bounds because the individual didn't want any recognition,
Okay.
but they approached the school and asked, what do we want? And came in, had a meeting, and, you know, in the electrical field, because Ellis Cappy Bateman was an electrician, right? So talked to him. The humbleness of our instructors are, oh, we really don't need, and he said, dream big. And this was a dream item that has been on the list for the instructors for a while, but legislation prohibited us from getting any value out of having a lift that we can't train our students on or even use. So with that that's why I say the stars aligned, that legislation came in, and out of the blue, this charitable trust came in and offered a lift, and he said, is that the best? And he goes, no, it's an affordable one. And the gentleman went out and found the best and said, here's a check to buy the best. So yeah, so it's like extremely generous. All he asked is that we recognize on the boom lift, you know, Ellis Chappie Bateman on it, and we'll paint that thing, Ellis Chappie Bateman. So yeah, doesn't want, you know, recognition with a picture and a big check or anything, but just was happy to be able to provide our students with this opportunity, and we're extremely grateful for this opportunity.
That's great.
I will add too, just that when they parked the staff, they gave us the staff and back, and they found one was like for 55,000, they got not good enough, so they were back under the
Al?
This crawler boom, will it be used off premise?
No, probably not. That would require transportation. It's something
Yeah,
that
that's what I'm wondering.
setting up the staging, our students, there's the picture, our security cameras outside, every time our electrical students needed to adjust or work on those, they had to go down, get the staging, carry it over, set it all up. This new crawler boom, just go over, get in it, go up, come down, and it's done. It fits through a normal doorway too, So it can be used internally in the gymnasium to get up and change, or get those volleyballs that are always stuck up in the upper nets, and stuff. So it's really versatile all around this building. But we'll probably not take it off-site.
What is the motorization on it?
Tracks.
Yeah, it's a track
It's
ball.
a tracked
It's a
machine, it's a tracked machine, it's got the, integrated booms that go out and set it up. Lifts capacity of over 500 pounds, and it's gas,
What's the power source?
Yeah,
electric,
it's electric.
Electrical?
It's electric, it's 2'6" wide, 6'6" tall, it goes, I think, 62 feet tall, and its max capacity of 500 pounds. And it's
With
got
battery powered?
battery powered, 4 outriggers. I think JLG is the manufacturer, I mean, it is the Cadillac of lifts.
Do we have a charger in-house to charge the battery?
We'll make sure we have it.
I bet it comes with one.
Yeah, it'll come with one.
I think I know some electricians who can wire that.
Any other questions or comments? Being none, let's call for the vote to accept this extremely grateful donation. All those in favor?
Aye.
I don't even want to ask if anyone's opposed, so. But any opposed? Being none, motion carries. Information and proposals, report from the superintendent director.
Through the chair, I submitted a written report, I'm prepared to answer any questions on that. And I can, that'll go in remarks. On the report, I just want to highlight that the finance committees are scheduled, those that we have dates for, so look at that. When we confirm those, we've been including the 2 representatives from the towns on that, so you know when that night is, and you're more than welcome to attend. Many of you do that, and that's great. I do want to call out, I sent out from the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education, met on Tuesday, February 25th. They voted to solicit public comment on several initiatives, one being amendments to the regulations on the MCAS and competency determination. So please review that. If you have any public comment, feel free to submit those. They voted to solicit public comment on the proposed amendments to regulations on educator licensure and preparation program approval. So several changes to educator licensure to streamline the process and get more teachers in the pool. And lastly, they agreed to continue discussion on career technical education proposed amendments to the regulations 603 CMR 4. That is on admissions to vocational schools. The current proposal is a lottery. It's currently a qualified lottery. They went into further, they voted not to put it out for public comment because they're doing further study on the qualifications for that. So currently, as it was proposed on Tuesday, was 2 qualifiers, attendance, no more than 10, and discipline. And again, that was the heavy hitters, the 10 days or longer. It was brought up that interest should be integral to that. And why that's important, one, they should want a vocation because they're going to a vocational school. But 2, interest takes it from, and I don't know our numbers, but there is one school that has 1,200 applications. Of the 1,200 applications, only just under 1,000 are completed applications. So if it doesn't take into consideration interest, that would be a lottery ticket for all 1,200 students who just wrote their name on the application and submitted it. They're going into study, and some board members brought up that they want to eliminate attendance because, as middle schoolers, a lot of those students don't make a choice whether they go to school or not. That's their parents who make that choice. So there's a higher absentee rate among certain subgroups on that. I won't give my position because that's my position, but if you feel strongly about any of these, reach out. And I'm getting some templates from MAVA that I can send out to school committee and to our advisors as well. But if you feel strongly about any of these, please stay tuned and I'll send you the next working session when they come back and present their work on what that interest will be and if they change anything on attendance on that. But this is the time, especially to reach out and talk to your legislators or submit public comment on that. These these changes will go into effect for next year's admission cycle for the class of 2030 on that. So there's a lot of talk on both sides of it. I will say the proponents the advocates of the lottery are doing a good job of bringing the people in their comments and presenting it. Marva's doing a phenomenal job, and the superintendents are doing a great job. We show a strong presence at these meetings, both online and in person. We've had 3 spots for public comment from superintendents on that as well. Advocate for what you believe in. So if it's the lottery, advocate. If it's qualifiers for the lottery, advocate. But now's the opportunity to do that.
Thank you. Subcommittee reports, audit subcommittee.
The audit subcommittee met earlier this evening and gladly accepted the audit report that was presented.
Thank you. Budget subcommittee, Tim.
Just had a public hearing this evening. We'll be looking to see what adjustments there may be down the road from Commonwealth.
Thank you. Building and Grounds Subcommittee, they haven't met this year, so update. Negotiation Subcommittee, Dave.
Last month, I reported that Unit M, we had closed and finished our negotiations on Unit M. However, since that time, there are still some questions from Unit M on the negotiations, so that is still open. It's not a closed session on that. And I emailed late this afternoon, so I apologize to subcommittee members, but I shared with the subcommittee the questions from Unit M, so they have that in their emails late today. And finally, we're beginning paraprofessional negotiations this Wednesday, March 5th at 5 o'clock. So that'll be the next round.
Thank you. Policy, Peter is not here, so now we have an update.
We met last Wednesday, got through policies, sections E and F. A lot of good work was there. Our next meeting is March 25th at 5:30.
Okay. Warrant Subcommittee, again, warrants are available for signature by all members at monthly meetings and during the day at school. Just call before you come up, make sure that someone's available to get you in to see them. Future business meeting date next month, Monday, April 7th, 7 p.m. in this room. Topics for future agenda, as always, reach out to Leah, Kyle, and myself, and we'll see what we can do to accommodate for the agenda. Remarks from the superintendent director, anything additional?
Do we want to have?
I was going to bring it up
after this?
Yeah,
Okay,
after
great.
this.
All right.
I
Didn't forget about you.
Thank you.
Sure, I have a couple of things to announce. One, you saw on the way in, but we're having our Bay Path Career Night is scheduled for April 14th, that evening, afternoon into the evening. So a lot of great work. Last year, the gym was full and parking was really tight for the people attending that, our students and so forth. So be aware of that. March is Women's History Month, so Valerie Volodka, our librarian, has done some great work. I just want to highlight what will be coming out for Women's History Month. She's designed a gallery walk featuring one female from as many of our 23 programs that we could get that's going to come in. And she's working with our graphics and highlighting them. This is a prototype of the gallery. So we'll have a poster board made up, and these will be set up in the library and maybe even in the lobby when you walk in. So there'll be close to 23 of these put up. This is Becca Boudelet, 22 Automotive Tech, and we're going to highlight, what shop, where they're currently working or going to school. So she's at Heritage Valley Ford Putnam. They gave a quote, my best memory at Bay Path was making new friends and truly enjoying the shop class. Path after Bay Path, straight into the workforce. skills gained. I gained hands-on experience and the opportunity to pursue a trade I was passionate about. I learned the importance of keeping my workspace clean and making sure my oil bucket wasn't full. So yeah, and another quote on that. So she's done a tremendous amount of work. We have them from recent grads to, not so recent grads. And a couple more, I think like 4. She's trying to get 4 more students from some trades on that and put them up. So stay tuned, and when they're up, I welcome you all to come up, as she always does with all her presentations, come up and take a look. But I think that's really a wonderful idea that she put together on that. So excellent. And then some of the outside work we've done for our towns. Charlton is a heavy hitter here. In Charlton, for Boy Scout Troop 165, they made graphic communications, made some banners. Charlton Library, Carpentry did some trim on their valley columns. Charlton Middle School, our graphic communications did banners and flyers. At the Overlook, Carpentry made some bookshelves and winter benches. Dudley Middle School, graphic communications made some fat heads. And for the Dudley Charlton Regional School District, you know what those are cutouts, right? Culinary Arts made some Trey Leahy cakes. Oxford Little League, our graphic communications did banners, and Sovereign Grace Chapel in Southbridge Beam did some books and agendas assembling for them on that. I think those are the remarks I have.
Thank you very much. I'm going to jump to Matt now, since he was a little bit later than when we started, a little early tonight. So Matt.
I didn't have many things. I just had because March is kind of a slow month, but I just want to say this year's kind of flying by, and I can't believe we're already in March. Thankfully, winter's coming to a close. I know I hate the cold, and spring can't come any sooner. This month we have the District Skills USA competition, which is being held on Wednesday, March 12th, which is an early release for all students. I will be participating in this event. I'm very excited to see the outcome for myself and all my other fellow students. I know that spring sports registration has started and winter sports are soon coming to a close. And our steering committee has decided on our senior prom theme being a night in Venice, which is almost like a beautiful nighttime landscape with the accents of boats to complement the Venice style of transportation. So that is all I have, but thank you.
Thank you. All right, so moving in that direction, Bob.
I'm all set.
Okay, second Bob, Don. Jeff?
I'll make it real quick. I was actually on our town's finance committee, and they asked me what was going on here at Bay Path, and I just told them a lot of special things and great accomplishments, which we summarize every time. And we'll see you next Wednesday. Excellent. Be a friendly crowd.
Al?
Can I speak before you?
Okay,
Everybody?
sure. George?
Just congratulations to our sports teams for the individual athlete accomplishments. Thank you for a great presentation as always. It was nice to have that accolade paid to our school. I forgot what the organization was, a magazine or something.
Community Choice Awards.
Community Choice Awards. That's excellent. Good stuff all around. Very excited about skills. And good luck with that. Good luck to all our students. I love that part of the year. So hopefully we bring home some gold and head off to nationals.
That's it. Katie?
I think I'm good tonight.
Okay, Tim?
A warm thank you to the Bateman family for their generous gifts, and it kind of sounds like it's a dream come true. Big pass spot, so thank you very much.
Okay, Don?
All set, thank you.
All right.
All set?
All right, Joe?
I hope I didn't inadvertently leave Cindy out of my comments earlier about the accolades towards the audit. If I did, I didn't mean to. I know John was here during that, the process of the interim, but I didn't mean to leave you out in my comments. So the appreciation extends towards you as well. Thank you to the Bateman Trust. That's an extremely generous gift. And of course to all the students and overall athlete accolades that were listed out tonight.
Thank you, Helen.
I'm fine, thank you.
All right, Dave?
Yep, all set.
All right, Al?
Matt? I could distribute one of Okay.
Um,
Well, as you notice, it's gonna be a sensitive thing for me, so be patient with me. I'm gonna state, today, as an Air Force veteran, I would like to share some of my happy thoughts and feelings with you all about this upcoming Memorial Day parade. And our Grand Marshal is a military major nurse combat who has helped so many wounded veterans, and her age is over 100. And she is truly a living hero. I am also proud to honor all of the women who are a vital part of BayPath, and especially the women serving on our school committee, and being able to speak for many veteran heroes that hope you can all enjoy this Saturday, March 8th, as it is well-deserved day, stating Happy National Women's Day. And it says, you can't spell hero without an H-E-R. And that's Happy International Day for the women.
Sweet. All set?
Thank you.
All right, I can't top that, so I guess I'm not even gonna try. I'm gonna start letting you speak ahead of me, all right? With that, I'm gonna say we move to G, which is executive session contract negotiations. And I need to entertain a motion that the school committee vote to move into executive session for the purpose of MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, union BPTA, paraprofessionals, level 3 grievance, and to reconvene in open session only for adjournment.
So moved as stated.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, and with that, it is a roll call vote. Look at that. Katie?
Yes.
What? Joe Becker?
Yes.
Al Beelan?
Yep.
Jim Caldwell is absent. Jessica?
Yes.
Don Jouett?
Yes.
Dave Grenier?
Yes.
Mary Johnson is absent. I am a yes. Helen?
Yes.
Don Montville?
Yes.
Anne Marie, Al Fish, and Peter Schur absent. Timothy Schur?
Yes.
George Stobie? Yes. Mike DeBerry absent. Bob Tremblay?
Yes.
Jeff Wenzel?
Yes.
Bob Zukow?
Yes.
Okay.